What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I did have to make a video today here on the Crew 2 because for one, we do obviously know the game is currently on sale, which I did see on Steam. I think it's September 23rd. So if you guys have not played the game, I would definitely recommend getting it. Also, we legitimately have a house in this game, man. This is something I definitely want in Motorfest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Do you want a house like this? It would be so dope to have something like this in Motorfest, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I do know people are probably going to go, look at those graphics, bro. They look terrible. Well, here's the thing. This game is absolutely massive, so I'm not expecting the entire map to look, incredible. But hey, we actually have a house you can look at your stuff in, which is going to be so dope. But as I was mentioning, though, this game is legitimately $1 on Steam. I think it's also $1 on the Xbox. From what I did see on the actual PlayStation, I can't tell if it's on sale, but do let me know in the comments below, guys, if it actually is, because I can't tell if it is. But one thing I really did find insane, though, is currently on Steam when checking the game, it has over 30,000 players on it, man. This is crazy. Also, this is something I really do love, being able to inspect your car, bro. This is such a cool and also a very dope feature everybody does want. As far as I do know, currently in Motorfest, you can't do anything like this in the game. But man, this would be so dope to be able to do this, guys, in your own house in Motorfest. Hopefully, we do get that. Like, I do like small things like this. And I feel like everybody's like, no, bro, this is something we definitely need. Having a house like this in that game would be so dope. You can customize a few things, have your car set up and all that, and you are basically good to go. Like, it's such a dope feature. Now, what's kind of insane to me, though, is the fact that the Crew 2 actually has over 30,000 people on Steam. Now, I do know people are probably going to come forward and go, well, you know what, man, like, the game is on sale, and that is true. That is probably why there are so many people on it. The thing is, though, I have to... Wait, there's a garage thing in here? Bro, I have not spent a lot of time in this at all. But I do feel like a lot of players might look at that and go, okay, so we do have that some... What in the world? Oh, there's my Bugatti. I kind of forgot about this a little bit, that you can actually set your cars up in here, bro. And I have not been in here that much, have I? Wow. But either way, though, I feel like when looking at that, 30,000 players on just Steam, guys, is pretty insane. Also, honest question right now. I have to say this, guys. Do you actually think Motorfest has that many people on it on the PC? Now, I do know if you actually look at the Steam charts on there, it's going to say something around like 700 or so, maybe 500, could be even more depending on what time of day it is. But I do feel like even though that game wasn't on Steam when it did come out, it is still most likely not going to be hitting that many players on the PC, man. Like, that is crazy. Once again, though, I do understand the game is going to be $1, so how can you not buy it? Also, there is legitimately so many things to do in this game. How can you actually not want to pick this up for $1 if you have never played it? Same with you guys on Xbox. If you haven't played The Crew 2, this is definitely the time to get it. Like, seriously, I did want to go over a few things here, guys, on why I think the game is definitely worth it. I mean, we all do know $1 is legitimately nothing for a game of this size, but a few things I did want to show here. So there is a lot of things to do. You're going to notice the street racing. There's a ton of events to do, guys. We have these street races here. It legitimately goes on for a long time. Look at this. Like, there's so many. Moving over to the drift events, like, there is a lot of events you can do in the game. We're going to have drag races, which, man, I have to say this, guys. Can we please get more drag races in Motorfest? I know I've said that before, but seriously, 2 events in the whole game, bro. I hope there's going to be more on that new island. We're also going to have a bunch of hypercar races, which is probably going to be some of my personal favorites. But the other thing, we're also going to have those off-road races. We have the freestyle things with like demolition derby, planes, jet sprint boats. Also, would you guys like to see the jet sprint boats return into Motorfest? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. And then we're also going to have the pro racing here, which is going to be power boats, touring cars, air race, and also that's going to be racing now. We're then going to have Alpha GP, skills, and all that good stuff. So, like, there's a lot to do in this game. The other thing I did want to go over, guys, especially if you are newer to the game, or even if you're going to be a veteran player like I am, who else wants to see more of the Live Xtreme series in Motorfest? These events were so dang fun, man. Like, I really did enjoy these. And I feel like the Live Xtreme series events would be such a great addition to Motorfest. Like, I feel like so many people would actually like these. Now, if you might have been wondering, though, well, what is a Live Xtreme event? So for these, if you guys might have been wondering, they basically are going to be split up in 3 different classes, to where you basically drive like 33%, switch to the next one, and so on. Like, you might have street racing, powerboat, rallycross, you have hypercar, alpha GP, jet sprint. Like, these races were a great time. They're also like a great dynamic change to where you have to use multiple different classes over that said event. Now, I do know in Motorfest you can pick some of the races in that game, like the longer ones, and pick different classes in them, but these races had such a big difference of variety of like landscape and stuff that I do think actually made them a lot more fun. The next thing I did want to talk about here before I talk about the summit a bit is going to be the stories. We also have the hobbies, guys. Again, this is also one thing I really like, so you can get more cars here like the lovely TTRS. Really good looking car. We have all these things you have to do, like the new skills that were added into the MAD update. We're also then going to have the stunt performer, which is a bunch of challenges for the RX-7. Then after that, we're also going to have the other RX-7 here, which is going to be the 10th anniversary. There's a bunch of challenges I still haven't done, but you can go in and get them. But, you know, being maxed out, you probably don't have to do it. Then we're also going to have the Hummer HX, which, by the way, I still don't have this thing. I actually did end up buying it in Motorfest because I don't have it on here. It was for sale in that game, if I do remember correctly, so I just bought it, even though I'm fairly close to getting it. Then we're also going to have the Roadrunner over here, guys. Like, there is a lot of different challenges you can go after. There's also going to be other things. We're then going to have the stories and stuff like that. Easily one of my favorite updates in the crew ever, man. Like, I legitimately loved all of these so much. Do let me know, guys, would you like to see something like the stories in Motorfest? Could it work? I feel like it could. Now, I hate to say this, but one of the issues with something like this update is probably going to be the map size, man. Like, these basically took you everywhere around the entire United States version in this game. Like, it was so dope. In Motorfest, I feel like the map is going to be a tad too small for it, and you are most likely going to go to the exact same places over and over. So maybe something like that would not actually work. Now, here's something that's kind of crazy about this, though. I was talking about the hobbies before and all the events and stuff like that. We also have the community races as well, which I'll talk about that in a second. We're also then going to have the summits on top of that, guys, and the motor flicks. So this is all the entire updates we've had over the past 5 or so years. And there is going to be a lot of different updates. Like, I did just talk about the American Legends, which was the story update. We then have the Dominion Forceburg, we had the Into the Storm, we had the Blizzard, we had the cities, which, by the way, I love the cities events. These were so dang dope. Basically, every single city around the entire United States version in this game had a bunch of closed off races in each of them. Like, this was so dope. We also then got another one after that, guys, which is going to be fairly similar to it. The Speed Tour update. They were basically longer events, which I haven't even done some of these yet, which I probably should do that. We're then going to have something like another American Legends update. We have the flashback. Then finally the MAD updates that brought us new skills and stuff to end the game off here and then bring us into Motorfest. Also, guys, do let me know your thoughts right now. What do you actually think about all the updates in the Crew 2? I actually feel like about 95% of them were great. The reason why I say that is I do actually think like the Hunt one or like the Chase one were fun, but I do feel like the events in these were kind of, I guess you could say, a bit repetitive, and they just weren't all that entertaining afterwards. The agency was pretty dope. I did like the game updates or like the crazy tracks they added. Really enjoyed doing those. We had the speed tour updates on the actual like different versions and different locations here that were closed off, similar to like the races that you did see in the cities. Then we also had an off-road version of that, which was so dang dope. Really enjoyed doing those. And then we also had the contractor updates, which I did actually find these to be fairly fun. Like, yeah, you're probably not going to get rich from doing these events, but at least you can actually drive around, do random things, deliver and stuff, and actually mess around and drive to different locations. And you also make a quick buck while exploring the map and doing different things. Like, that's a pretty cool concept. But overall, I feel like this game really has so many things to offer. That's why I think, guys, for $1, I really do think everybody should get it. Like, I really don't know if you can actually get a better game for $1, at least, you know, a racing game for that matter, at least right now. The other thing I did want to discuss here briefly is the actual community races. A lot of people really want this to be in Motorfest, which I can't blame you, because they are going to be incredibly fun to do. You can sort by them, do different events. You can actually search for them in the map itself. And also, quick thing I do want to mention after looking into it for a quick second, yes, the Crew 2 is going to be $1 on the PlayStation as well. So definitely, guys, pick this up. Also, apparently, Motorfest is 70% off. So they are definitely trying to get people into the overall Crew franchise. So I would say right now is probably going to be the best time to do it. But there is going to be so many different events everywhere, man. Like, you can find, let me see, the community ones. Think that's one. Okay, so here's one right here. This is going to be a community event. These are legitimately everywhere. 59 miles, bro. Okay, that's actually crazy. So we have basically the equivalent of the New York race. That's somebody made in Rallycross. That's pretty dope. But I really do think having an entire community thing for the actual Motorfest game would be so good, man. Like, you can actually make your own races. And I feel like in that game, with the map being smaller, would probably make a lot of sense. I mean, look at the size of this map, man, with all of the events here. You know, I'm actually curious. Where's the filter button? There it is. How many races are actually in the game here? So there's 362 events in total, including all, I'm guessing that's everything, right? So 362 events, bro. That is so many, man. Like, we have touring car, we have rallycross, hovercraft, we have planes, we have hypercars. There is legit so many races to do in this game. Like, I feel like right now is probably the best time to get into it because all the updates are out. Like, you have everything at your disposal. You can mess around with different classes, go after different things. It's going to be dope. And on top of that, we're also going to have the PvP side of it, which is going to be a pretty fun time. And guys, we are also going to have the summit, so at least you're going to always have something to do in it. And man, for like $1, how can you actually not want to play it? I just feel like, guys, the Crew 2 right now is going to be in a great place. I do know a lot of players are still going back to the Crew 2 and playing it over something like Motorfest. Now, I'm not saying Motorfest is awful, but we can all agree there's just way more things to do in the Crew 2, which I do think in the Year 2 update in Motorfest that could probably change. And I do feel like a lot of players are going to be going back to Motorfest once more updates happen. And we also get that huge map expansion being added into it. But currently, bro, I don't think you can actually beat the Crew 2 being $1. There is going to be so many things from stories, hobbies, all kinds of different seasons you can play through, like the US Speed Tour races. You have the summits, you have PvP, you have all the races you can do. There is going to be a lot of stuff to do in this game, and I feel like that's why it's going to be so good to get it. Play this, go after some of the cars. Then if you don't have Motorfest, maybe you're probably going to want to get it after playing the Crew 2. You buy a bunch of cars, you get a bunch of stuff unlocked, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I'll end up picking up Motorfest because it's also on sale. When I'm done with the Crew 2, then I'll go back to Motorfest and play that one next. I feel like that is probably going to make a lot of sense in that aspect. Now, do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. Are you also back playing the Crew 2, doing a bunch of events and stuff? Like, I might have to go do some hypercar races just to bring back some memories of back in the day of playing this. I might even go back in and do the summits and stuff like that, and I probably won't go after like the platinum cars because I have all of them. I'd rather give other players a chance to get them that don't have them, so I'll probably do like 1 or 2 events and leave the summits alone. But overall though, I do feel like having a big sale like this was a great idea on Ubisoft's part. We're not only going to have this game being $1 on every single platform, but we're also going to have Motorfest being 70% off. Now, I do know they're probably trying to get players into Motorfest before the big update, because we can all agree right now that the entire like player base and stuff like that is pretty low. But I do feel like once the update comes out or people are buying the game on sale, it is definitely going to pick up. I also do think Motorfest is going to pick up in the way that many players might be on the Crew 2 now, so they're probably going to buy cars and go, you know, this game's dope. Let's go play Motorfest and see how that game is next. So I feel like that would end up happening, unless a lot of players are going to be fairly occupied on the Crew 2 for a while, because there is so many different things to do. But seriously though, the only thing I can say is get the Crew 2 if you haven't gotten it yet. It is going to be $1 on every single platform. Definitely worth going after. On top of that, guys, if you're not sure if you want to get Motorfest yet, I would actually recommend getting Motorfest after getting the Crew 2, because as of right now, guys, you can actually get both of these games for under $20. From what I did see, Motorfest is going to be $17.99 on PlayStation, which I'm probably going to guess and say the other platforms are going to be the same thing. And then you can also get the Crew 2 for $1. Honestly, it's probably going to be well worth getting both of them. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I really do feel like seeing the Crew 2 blow up to over 30,000 people on Steam is such a great feeling, man. Like, this game was so dang good. And the best part is it still is. And on top of that, you can actually get a bunch of stuff unlocked and play through the content. Then if you actually get the Motorfest game and you haven't played that yet, you can then jump onto that, transfer your cars over, and have another new experience.